and welcome to Wahey presents The Outside View, co-powered by Fantasy Akhada and Swara. And here we are back with the review of the second T20I between England and India, which happened in Derby, and India won the match by 8 wickets. England batted first, they scored 140 odd, which was chased in the end quite comfortably by India, courtesy of Smriti Mandhana's unbeaten 79. Mohit, a really resounding comeback from the Indian team after that loss, and they should be proud of the way they have even fielded. We spoke about it in the previous match, that their fielding was really bad, but they put up a good display with the ball and with the on the field. Especially special mention to Radha Yadav, who was spectacular in the field. We have seen her in England in the recent Commonwealth Games also. What was your take of India's overall fielding and bowling yesterday?
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, India's performance yesterday was a lot more in line with how they performed at the Commonwealth Games and how they've been doing recently ever since Harmanpreet Kaur has become the captain, because this is the India we were expecting to see in the first T20I as well. But the lack of intensity, especially in the field and with the ball, surprised us a fair bit. But yesterday, I think India brought their A game to the park. And like you said, the fielding especially was really good. And Radha Yadav, I think, made a difference single-handedly in the field. She took that exceptional catch at long on, and then she also got that run out, which was crucial. So I think those 2 wickets really badly hurt England, and that shows how in the T20 format your fielding itself can sometimes win you games. So she also showed why Harmanpreet Kaur really likes her and picks her all the time instead of somebody like Rajeshwari Gaikwad, who's arguably a more experienced and probably a equally good bowler. But because of what Radha Yadav brings in the field, I think she's probably one of India's best fielders and also one of the best fielders in the world. So I think her fielding made a huge difference in yesterday's match.
Having said that, England's batting we had spoken about in the last game, that they won that match with 9 wickets, and only the top 3 batted in that game in the first T20I. But we spoke about the inexperience in the English lineup that was there, that this team can be exploited because of their inexperience. And Indian bowlers did do that. They got those 3 wickets early in the innings, and from that England were 50 odd down. There has to be, you have to also briefly speak about Freya Kemp, who was sensational with her 50. We finally saw a left-hander in that lineup of the English batting unit, which we have been speaking about for a while. Just to see her, it was a fantastic knock. But for England to be 50 for 5 in a T20I match, they should be sort of disappointed with that performance.
Yeah, definitely. And especially the run out of Alice Capsey really hurt them, because it was a needless run out. And that's something which also happened in the Commonwealth Games semi-final, where Danny Wyatt and Alice Capsey were looking in really good form. Then she got run out, and then the batters who followed struggled. And even yesterday, she was timing the ball really well. She only played 6 balls, but still. So I think that run out was crucial, like we were talking about. But I think England will be happy with the fact that in spite of slumping to 50 for 5, they managed to get 140. And their intent was very impressive. Even after they lost those early wickets, both Maya Boucher and Freya Kemp kept attacking, kept going for the big shots, which is necessary in a T20I, especially on a good pitch, because there was no problem with the pitch yesterday. It was just some very good bowling from especially Deepti Sharma and Sneh Rana. And I think that put a lot of pressure on the English batters. So we were talking about the lack of batting depth, like Freya Kemp at number 7 and the inexperience in the middle order were exploited yesterday. But England would be really happy that Freya Kemp showed that she is good enough to bat at number 7, and Maya Boucher also played a really good innings yesterday. So they must be really happy that their backup players or players who are recently inducted into the 11 are doing so well. Ultimately, because of those 3 early wickets, I think they were 20 or 30 under par. But the fact that they got to 140 after being 50 for 5 is a credit to their lower order batters.
Rightly said, that the intent from the English batters, once the 5 wickets were down, especially from Maya Boucher, and even early on when when 3 wickets were down and Amy Jones and I'm forgetting the name, they put on a good stand for the 30-40 runs, which actually kept the run rate under something that they would have liked. It did not let Indians be that dominating as well with the ball. Having said that, with 142 on the board, did you feel England should have sort of been a little better with the ball? People can say that there was a lot of dew factor which was not helping the bowlers to sort of grip. We saw how many times Sarah Glenn missed her length yesterday. But you have to speak that the intent from England with the ball when you are defending 142 was slightly underwhelming. Especially they let, obviously Smriti and Shafali both are very dangerous batters, and we know if you let them settle in. But what did you make of England's bowling performance?
I thought their bowling performance was largely okay, but I think the fifth bowler is probably a big problem for them because Freya Kemp's not somebody who bowls 4 overs regularly. Like even in the 100, she rarely bowled her full allocation of 4 sets. So I think that was a weakness that India exploited really well, because if you look at like Freya Kemp, Bryony Smith and Alice Capsey, those 3 overs went for 43 runs yesterday, and that's like a huge chunk of the target when you're chasing 143. Their 4 main bowlers did a reasonably good job. Like you said, Sarah Glenn struggled a fair bit with the dew and the conditions, but I thought like Lauren Bell and Sophie Eccleston bowled really well. Freya Davis again like does what she does, so she was good. And I think Amy Jones, to be fair to her, tried everything. She gave over to Bryony Smith because of the off-spin issues. Then she also went to Alice Capsey. So I think Amy Jones has done a reasonably good job as captain, especially considering this is just her second match. But that fifth bowler is something that England probably need to figure out, because against really top quality batters like Smriti Mandhana or Harmanpreet Kaur, it's a weakness that they will look to exploit.
You spoke about Smriti Mandhana briefly, and her innings yesterday was so good to watch. So easy on the eye. She took the game to the stuff of the neck, and she attacked in the power play over. She got boundaries as she wanted, using the fact that only 2 fielders were outside the circle. There was also one phase in the innings where she took 15 consecutive singles. Just goes to show the maturity that Smriti Mandhana, and then later on, once she got to her 50 and she teed off again and kept on getting some boundaries to finish the run chase early. It was such a nicely timed innings, Mohit, if you really go and look back at it. On top of that, her form in England has been so good this summer. We saw her in the 100, we did see her in the Commonwealth game where she was fantastic, but there was something much better about the last night's knock, especially with the fact that she was there till the end to get the job done with Harmanpreet Kaur, obviously. What did you make of that innings?
I think just the fact that she takes that responsibility and sees matches through, like we saw that in the Commonwealth games as well, in the match against Pakistan. Like yesterday's match reminded me a lot about that match, because there also the total was on the lower side and here as well. So like what we've seen with the new Smriti Mandhana is like she tries to put the game out of the opposition's reach within the power play itself, especially when you're chasing a small total. So like once you put up 55-60 runs in the first 6 overs, that's almost half the chase done. And then you have that freedom to like just take singles and twos and rotate the strike. Like you said, like at one stage there was no risk whatsoever that she took, because India was well ahead of the asking rate. And then as soon as the runs that they needed came within touching distance, she stepped on the accelerator again. So I think she also knows like when to switch gears, and she has all the shots. So it's not easy for bowlers as well. So this is like a very special player, and I think India is really fortunate to have somebody like Smriti right at the top, and she's still only like in her mid-20s. So like there's a lot more to come from Smriti Mandhana. So the kind of potential she has is scary, and I wouldn't be surprised like if she owns all possible records by the time she retires. I think she already equaled Mithali Raj's record of most 50s for India yesterday, became the first Indian to hit 10 50s abroad. So that's already quite a few significant records that she has against her name.
The teams that will face Smriti Mandhana in the next few years should be scared of her. And on that note, we'll end this show. We'll be back with another review of the third T20I once the decider is done. Till then, stay tuned to Women's Cricket Zone. That's it from Wahey Presents Outside View, co-powered by Swara and Fantasy Akhada.